Hello, LightsaberRattling.com readers and now viewers. I'm Peter, the man behind LightsaberRattling.com, and I wanted to come today with a little video content just to talk about some of the latest news regarding Star Wars Rebels, the new animated series from Lucasfilm and Disney. For those who haven't heard the news yet, in fall 2014 we're going to get a new TV series. It's going to be on Disney XD, but it's going to premiere with a 1-hour special on the Disney Channel. Now, if you were around for the premiere of the Clone Wars animated series, you know that things didn't get off that well. Warner Brothers wanted to have a theatrical release, so they cobbled together 3 episodes, and it really wasn't the best 3 episodes of the Clone Wars. It really wasn't even close. As a Star Wars fan going to the theater, it was a huge disappointment. And as much as the series really, grew on you, and you started to enjoy it, it's kind of hard to look back at that and Sky Guy and Snips and deal with the sick little Hutlet. Eeks. We do get some good news. Not only is it going to be a 1-hour premiere on Disney Channel, but it's going to be written by Simon Kinberg. He's the guy you might want to read up about. He wrote Sherlock Holmes, if you didn't know. He's also writing X-Men Days of Future Past and is a producer on that film. He's going to be writing the 1-hour premiere of the series. So it's in good hands, I would think. We'll see how it turns out, but I have confidence. Also involved in the show are going to be Dave Filoni and Greg Weisman. They're going to be joining Kinberg as the executive producers. So there's 3 EPs on the show. Weisman may be best known, at least to me, as the guy behind Gargoyles, which was a really cool series in the 90s. Really fun little animated show. We don't yet know if it's going to be a primetime show or a Saturday morning show. But I'm sure we'll get that news probably either at Celebration Europe or down the road, a little closer to the premiere. Again, we have some news about the crew that's coming along, sort of Killian Plunkett, who did a lot of the art design, art direction on Clone Wars, and Joel Aaron, who was the CG lighting supervisor. They are both announced that they're going to be part of the series in Dave Filoni's video that they post on StarWars.com. They also mentioned they're going to use a lot of concept art from Ralph McQuarrie and the visual style and lighting, sort of the colors and stuff, to really guide their decisions in the show. So it sounds like they're going to try a different animated style, or at least a possibly different visually style than the Clone Wars used. We'll see how shocking it is compared to how jarring the Clone Wars animation style was when they first started. The good news is that they're playing in, whether you want to call it the Dark Times, the Rise of the Empire era, whatever you want to call it, the period between Episode 3 and Episode 4, which is really a fun period to play around with. Because not only do you get to borrow from characters and storylines that come out of the Clone Wars, out of Episode 3, but you also get to touch upon what happened in the original trilogy, going into Episode 4 a little bit. Now, there's some characters you can't really use. I mean, there's no way to really include Luke in it. At this point, he's either a little kid on the farm running around. You might use it if you use Obi-Wan, playing babysitter for an episode or 2, but there's no really way to include Luke to a large degree. But Leia is open, and as a senator, or junior senator, or senator in training, whatever she's going to be in this period of time, she could be really an interesting character and key character for the show. That should make at least most viewers happy. We'll see. Some people don't like it. But the inclusion of Han, that would be a little more difficult. And again, something they could do probably in a less featured role, in a from time to time thing, whether he's a little kid or in his very young days, maybe as an Imperial officer in training. We'll see. We don't know exactly when in the time period they're going to start the show. There's a lot to be revealed at this point, but we do know they have TIE fighters. Thanks, Dave. In the latest news that we have, Star Wars Rebels co-executive producer Greg Weisman announced via Twitter that they just finished a week-long meeting at Lucasfilm. He didn't disclose whether it was at the ranch or at the Presidio or one of their other offices, that they had broken the entire first season. Now, if you're not familiar with the TV writing process or the animation process in particular, there's a couple places you can go and visit. The podcast We Talk Clones, which is on solosound.net, in their episode 4D interviewed Clone Wars writer Brent Friedman. He gives a really good description about how the stories were broken and how the stories were assigned and written during the Clone Wars series. Another podcast you might want to look at is the Nerdist Writers Panel with Ben Blacker. He hosts a discussion. It varies from TV, film, comic book writers, but they have discussed a lot of animation writing in the past and how different writing rooms in the different genres of television work. It's a really good look. Generally, when they're breaking a story, what's going to happen is they've got the concept of the show. They sit down at the beginning of the season, and they're going to try to get the overall arc for the season. What's going to happen? Where the characters are going to go? What's what is going to happen to each character and how stories flow out of that. Once they come up with the general idea of the stories, they'll get more specific, and they'll, as a staff, the entire staff is going to be there together breaking the story. That means they're going to come up with the general outline. Now, it's going to be very rough at this stage, but they can get some very specific plot points that they want to get across. So while it's general, there can be some very exacting things they want to accomplish. There's different ways they can do it from this point. They can either write collaboratively, I can't talk today apparently, or they can sort of, as in seems traditional animation from what I've understood, that writers do a lot of the writing on their own. Most likely, based out of this meeting, writers are going to be assigned episodes or arcs they're going to work on, and then they're going to go back home or wherever their office is and work on those episodes, and then start sending drafts in. Now, there's going to be definitely a revision process, so we're still incredibly early in the show, but at least we know they're working on it, and it's going to be coming really quickly because fall 2014 is not that far away, so they got some work to do. All right, have a great day, guys. Thanks for watching.